Part 28. The Strongest Assassin in the Server. Author, B.A. Wang-Shi-San. Chapter 271. Night God, Occupation, Assassin, Level 32, Number of levels cleared, 50. The 50th floor, my mother. You can break through 50 floors at level 32. You are simply not human. Yes, he was not guilty before. He is already level 39 and has only penetrated the 44th floor. The gap is huge. The contest of martial arts is about to begin. It seems that in our light camp, Night God is definitely number 1. That's not necessarily true. The number of levels cleared in the Tower of Death doesn't mean anything. Yes, Sinless, Ming Tian, Shuesha, Huo Wu and others are all top-notch strong men. The voices of people talking outside the tower reached Ye Chen's ears. Ye Chen smiled, not taking it seriously, and teleported to Longyang City again. The contest of martial arts is coming soon, and the system has opened a special instance for this purpose, the training ground of the contest of martial arts. The conditions for entering the dungeon are level 30 or above. And only one person can enter. Ye Chen directly opened the system option and entered the training ground copy. This is a training ground environment. There are only 2 rooms in the entire dungeon. In the first room where Ye Chen is, looking around, there are practitioners of various professions everywhere, mainly ordinary and elites. All the cultivators protected one person. He was a big fat man with no upper body and a hammer with an iron chain embedded in his hand. This guy was the leader. Ye Chen raised the corner of his mouth, strode forward with a knife, and killed instantly along the way. Ye Chen didn't even bother to pick up the items exploded by the cultivators and rushed into the boss room. Young warrior, come and challenge me. Boss is a fighter, with 2 red gloves wrapped around his fists. He jumps left and right like a boxer, provoking Ye Chen. Hall owner, Iron Fist Leo, Lord. Level 30. HP/. Skills, over the shoulder throw, inch punch, concentrated punch, steel and iron bones, domineering armor. Note, if the player defeats the owner who guards the training ground, he will be eligible to participate in the contest of martial arts. After some provocation, Leo decisively activated the Overlord armor buff and strode towards Ye Chen. Ye Chen curled his lips, drank a bottle of lazy potion, and then used shadow escape to become invisible for a second, just in time to exit the previous combat state, then stepped sideways and used stealth to become invisible. Coward! If you want to kick the gym, you have to be honest. Leo couldn't see Ye Chen and roared angrily. However, Ye Chen was in the darkness, smiling at his dog howling. After waiting quietly for 10 seconds, Leo's domineering armor disappears. At the same time, Ye Chen activated the Paoju, Blood Blade, Poison Quenching, Wind Step, and War Cry. The passionate standing roar sounded, and Leo was startled and ran towards the source of the sound. Little did he know that Ye Chen was walking quickly in the darkness, turning sharply and passing by him. Sap! Dash! Ye Chen hit Leo on the back of the head with a stick, causing damage and knocking him into a dazed state. Then the shadow attack was triggered, bringing up a stream of afterimages, which instantly arrived in front of Leo, and the sharp dagger directly cut the latter's throat. Wipe the throat and finishing blow. Killer! Dash! The red flame dagger slashed hard, and a sharp red light flashed, leaving a big hole in Leo's neck, and blood shot out like a fountain. Immediately, Leo fell softly, and Ye Chen also received a system prompt. System, you defeated the master of the training venue and obtained the invitation letter to the competition *1. Ye Chen smiled. At this point, he was qualified to participate in the martial arts tournament, and then he used the invitation letter, which was regarded as a successful registration. The threshold for the contest of martial arts is relatively high. As a level 30 lord, Ye Chen can kill instantly, but this does not mean that ordinary players can also do it. In fact, it is more dangerous for ordinary players to fight elite monsters alone. To fight the Lord Boss, the elite group is usually responsible. In other words, it is difficult for a single elite player to pass the training ground. The number of participants in the martial arts tournament can be queried. Yechen took a look and found that currently there are only more than 3,000 people from the Bright Camp who have signed up to participate in the tournament. You know, it has been more than 24 hours since the game was updated, and there are only more than 3,000 people. This is too few. But from this point it can be proved that the threshold of martial arts tournament is also very high, but Yechen is just too powerful. This is what playing games is like. The gap between high-end players and ordinary players is very big, and it will get bigger and bigger. High-end players can clear dungeons alone, but ordinary players have no one to form a team. Of course, this so-called high-end player must be more than just Yechen. In fact, in terms of strength, the king and his ilk are even more powerful than Yechen. The last time Yechen failed, he used a cannon to blow up the king, and the use of cannons is definitely not allowed in the contest of martial arts. Not to mention cannons and magic crystal bombs, in high-end competitions like the tournament, even consumables cannot be used. But Yechen didn't panic. King and his ilk were, after all, world-class players, the strongest kings. It's normal that Yechen can't do it now. He still has a lot of room for growth, and the current contest of martial arts is just a camp. There are only a few strong people in the entire light camp. I don't want to brag, maybe I really am the number one in the camp. Yechen smiled. You must know that the top 8 in the camp will not only advance to the next national competition, but will also receive rewards. First place, 100,000 RMB in cash. Plus in-game, a mysterious gift package *1. Second place, 50,000 RMB in cash. Plus 1 mysterious gift bag. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Third place, 20,000 RMB in cash. Plus 1 mysterious gift bag. Fourth to 8th place, 1 mysterious gift bag. Although they are all mysterious gift bags, it can be imagined that the higher the ranking, the richer the reward. I'm so hungry, I'll go offline and have a meal before coming back. When his stomach growled, Yechen woke up, smiled bitterly and touched the back of his head, and went offline. About half an hour later, Yechen went online again, went to the mercenary union, and received the lieutenant's medal that he should have received long ago. Lieutenant's medal, purple quality. Level 1. Strength add 10. Physical strength add 10. Intelligence add 10. Spirit add 10. Special effect, any store in the light camp will be discounted by 9.5%. Note, this item cannot be dropped or traded. Note, it will take effect automatically in the package. Yechen pressed the second lieutenant medal and put it on his chest. On his chest, there was another medal, the Medal of Courage. Compared to the Medal of Courage, the second lieutenant medal is very rubbish, there is nothing we can do about it. When we get the major medal, it will be very awesome. Not only the attributes, but also the special effects. All medals above major have a fighting spirit special effect. Major LV1 Fighting Spirit. Lieutenant Colonel LV2 Fighting Spirit. Colonel LV3 Fighting Spirit. Marshal LV7 Fighting Spirit. The highest fighting spirit is LV7, which is very powerful and handsome. Fighting Spirit increases attack and defense. Turn on the Fighting Spirit special effect, and consume 1 merit point for 1 second. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wangshi-san. Chapter 272. Military ranks are promoted and demoted based on meritorious service. You can gain meritorious service by killing enemy troops and capturing enemy positions. If you are killed by the enemy or your position, main city, is captured by the enemy, your merits will be reduced. When the meritorious service reaches a certain point and the contest reaches 10,000 points, you will become a second lieutenant officer. If it is less than 10,000 points, it will be downgraded immediately. But turning on Dochi consumes 1 merit point per second, which most people cannot afford. Of course, the higher the officer level, the greater the advantage of turning on fighting spirit. Because even the top level LV7 Dochi still consumes 1 merit point per second. Moreover, the meritorious service of senior officers is very high. 1 point is nothing at all. They can burn. In the later stages of the game, once high-end players start a war, they will activate their fighting spirit at every turn, looking at the past, the sky, the earth, and the fighting spirit of various colors collide. It is so cool that the picture should not be too gorgeous. In his previous life, facing those high-end players, Yechen could only look up to him. Not to mention the fighting spirit that could only be unlocked with the rank of major. He was not even a second lieutenant, but just an ordinary soldier. However, in this life, it is only a matter of time before the Marshal and LV7's fighting spirit become stronger. After receiving the medal, Yechen turned around and went to the basement of the palace to play Dalong Palace alone. In the past, it was difficult to defeat Dalong Palace in a group, but now it was a matter of seconds to defeat it alone. I reached the boss room in less than 20 minutes and killed him in 3 waves. It only takes about 20 minutes to brush once. Because it is a single brush, the experience is quite rich. Yechen spent more than 3 hours and brushed the game 10 times in a row. The rich experience allowed him to upgrade 2 levels in a row, reaching level 34. After that, Yechen walked through the Forest of Death and came to Dark City, the LV3 main city of the Dark Camp. Within the Dark City, Yechen walked around various leveling points, killing like crazy. In one day, he gained more than 6,300 merit points. At this time, his meritorious service has reached plus, thanks to the blood tree, which has been killing enemies in the Dark Camp recently and helping Yechen improve his meritorious service. The rank of lieutenant requires 30,000 merit points, and Yechen now only has less than 6,000 merit points. The next day, Yechen returned to Longyang City again, in the basement of the palace. You must know that killing players of the enemy camp will not increase the crime, let alone gain fame. So Yechen now arrived at his main city safely. After brushing 10 Earth Dragon palaces again, Yechen quit the dungeon and went to the Dark Camp to kill enemies again. At the end of the day, I was finally promoted to lieutenant, the commander reached 70, and my medal was automatically upgraded. Lieutenant medal, purple quality. Level 1. Strength add 15. Physical strength add 15. Intelligence add 15. Spirit add 15. Agility add 10. Special effects, any store in the light camp will get a 9.5% discount. Note, this item cannot be dropped or traded. Note, it will automatically take effect in the package. In the next few days, Yechen would first upgrade Earth Dragon Palace, and spend the remaining time to join the local camp. During this period, he learned about the harvests of various camps and even other countries' harvests through wheat matching with tanks, monkeys, and others. In the past 7 days of the New Year's Day attack event, the top forces in each camp have harvested holy weapons. As for the artifact, so far, there is no news. Yechen took advantage of this time to upgrade like crazy, killing enemy troops crazily and gaining meritorious deeds. By this time, Yechen had reached level 38, finally reaching the average level of first-tier players. As for meritorious service, the rank of captain requires 50,000 points of meritorious service, and Yechen's meritorious service reached 70,000 plus and was successfully promoted to captain. Medals are also automatically upgraded, but the effect does not change much. At 8 o'clock in the evening that day, the broadcast rang. The contest will be officially held at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and the rules for the first round have been drawn up. The number of people from the light camp who signed up for the competition was exactly 10,000. It couldn't be such a coincidence. It should be a deliberate setting by the game party. The first round is divided into 10 games, and 100 people are randomly assigned to participate in each game at the same time. The final winner advances to the next round. This is obviously a knockout round, but it's a bit inhumane. You must know that 100 people is a relatively large number, and there are likely to be multiple strong people at the same time. This is a very cruel thing. But the rules of the game are like this. The game parties naturally have their own considerations, and player protests are invalid. Yechen has been assigned to the third wave, and the system has notified him that he will participate in the competition on time at 10:30 tomorrow morning. If you are late or something, you will definitely be disqualified. Dream World is very grand, and even a dedicated arena was opened for the contest. Players who want to watch the game need to buy a ticket to enter, and the ticket price is different every day. This is normal. As time goes by, the game will definitely become more and more exciting, and the game side will also want to make money. Tickets for the first knockout round only cost 1 silver coin, which is 1 yuan. This is quite cheap. If a player purchases multiple tickets at the same time, the seat numbers are connected together and they can watch the game with friends. Of course, the current arena only has open camps. In the future national competitions and world competitions, the authority of the arena will also be expanded accordingly. In other words, during the World Championships, it would be a piece of cake for the audience to exceed 100 million. Moreover, there will be a dedicated person recording it and it will be played simultaneously in the real world. You have to believe that Dream World has penetrated into various fields. Want to be famous? Yes, as long as you have the ability, enter the World Championships, get a slight ranking, and become famous overnight. You should know that in the past life, many great players took on GG in real life and their income was off the charts. They were no longer players, but stars. Everyone, I bought tickets, let's go to the game tomorrow, Tank shouted in the team channel. 3 minutes later, Yechen received an email, which was a ticket for tomorrow's knockout round. New Year's Day, I want to set off fireworks. Who will accompany me? Shen Kimian shouted. I want to go. New Year's Day is not the Spring Festival, just deal with it casually, and set off fireworks. Corruption. In the main group, more people do not live in villas, and they are all sour grapes. But no matter how sour they are, the 8 people who live in the villa still go offline, holding various fireworks and releasing them on the beach. After all, it is a festival, and the atmosphere is always there. Although the Seaview Villa is very remote, there will still be bright fireworks of various colors flashing in the sky. The dull explosions around are also endless, clamoring and wanton. Tank and others screamed and started to set off fireworks, big and small, and the scene was warm and joyful. Yechen smiled and looked up, just in time to see a firework explode in the bright sky, and then it spread out to reveal a smiling face of Pikachu. This lovely smile pulled Yechen's facial muscles, and then revealed a bright and cheerful smile like the sun. Just at this time, Yechen's cell phone rang. It was a text message from Yun Qian'er. New Year's Day is coming soon. Smiley face. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 273. Yechen smiled slightly, handed the fireworks in his hand to Monkey, walked away, and called Yun Qian'er. Happy New Year. Yechen smiled and said, how is it in the United States? Are you happy? It's okay, hee. The biggest gain is that my English has improved a lot, and I have made a few American friends. Yun Qian'er's coquettish and crisp voice came from the microphone, and Ye Chen was refreshed when he heard it, and smiled and chatted with Yun Qian'er about family matters. On the other side, Xiaoro had just finished setting off a firework, and was infected by the festive atmosphere, which made her face smile. She turned her head to look for Ye Chen habitually. When she saw Ye Chen making a phone call in the distance with a bright smile on his face, her heart was inexplicably bitter, and the smile on her face froze. Since she admitted her feelings, she has become sensitive and delicate. She hasn't seen a smile like Ye Chen for a long time, but now she sees it. But Ye Chen and Yun Qian'er have both admitted their relationship. At that time, Xiaoro only felt a lightning strike, which made her body paralyzed and her heart ached like a knife. Since seeing Yun Qian'er, Xiaoro suddenly became silent and self-abased. She knew she was stupid, but the traditional concept was so deep that she couldn't erase Ye Chen from her heart. If she couldn't escape, she could only watch silently and let the bitterness run wild in her heart. With tears rolling in her eyes, Xiaoro sniffed slightly and forced a smile. She suddenly found herself very small and out of place. Ye Chen was immersed in the world of two people, while Tank and others and the other three women were all laughing and setting off fireworks. If they were the sun, Xiaoro felt that she was the shadow corner that the sun couldn't penetrate. Thinking of this, tears suddenly burst out. Xiaoro covered her face and cried, and fled back to the villa in an extremely embarrassed manner. At this time, Huowu turned her head to look at Xiaoro's back, then looked back at Ye Chen in the distance, and shook her head secretly. Ye Chen, I bought the ticket, I will cheer for you in the martial arts competition, Yun Qian'er smiled. Ye Chen was stunned for a moment, then he remembered that Yun Qian'er had also played the game. Although she was only level 8 and had not even left the novice village, there was no level requirement for buying tickets. Well, I will show you the first place. Ye Chen raised the corner of his mouth and said proudly. Yun Qian'er teased, first in the country or the world? Ye Chen, of course it's the world. Yun Qian'er was surprised and happy, really? Ye Chen, really? In the noise of fireworks, the night became deeper and deeper, and the beach gradually became empty until dawn. The next morning at 9:50, the arena. Strictly speaking, today is New Year's Day. But in the game, or in the arena, there is no sense of the New Year's Day. The whole audience shouted loudly, excitedly, and excitedly. Millions of spectators surrounded the arena for countless circles. Looking from the outside, it was full of heads. Fortunately, the edges of the arena were supported by pillars, and on the tall pillars was a huge screen for synchronous photography. This is convenient for the players behind, they don't need to look at the ring, they can just look at the screen directly. The 30 tickets that Tank bought are located in the front, on the 10th floor. Ye Chen and the main players can clearly see the ring in front. Suddenly, a white light flashed in the center of the ring, and Wu Ziwei appeared in a modern suit, which instantly attracted all kinds of cheers. Wu Ziwei waved his hands around, with a smug smile on his face, and said to the microphone, I am very happy to represent the Bright Camp and host this year's martial arts competition. The first round of eliminations is about to begin. I believe everyone is clear about the rules of the competition. There will be 100 contestants participating in each round, and the final winner will advance. The competition time is 10 minutes. If the time is up and there are still more than 2 contestants standing on the ring, then, the one with the highest HP ratio will advance to the next round. The first round of eliminations will be held in 5 minutes, that is, at 10 o'clock. Please take your seats, contestants. Damn it, Wu Ziwei is the host. Boss, I don't accept it. In terms of strength and appearance, you are better than Wu Ziwei. Why should he be the host? That's right, any female star is better than him. As soon as Wu Ziwei finished speaking, Tank and others in the audience raised doubts and boos, and it can be seen that they are very unhappy. However, compared with the noise and cheers around them, their doubts and boos were like mosquitoes, not worth mentioning. You know, Wuzui is the president of Myth, and his own strength is also one of the best in the light camp. His background and popularity far exceed the current Yuchen. If the host is chosen from all the players in the light camp, Wuzui is indeed the best choice. Moreover, the club behind Myth has a great reputation in the gaming industry, and the game party and the person in charge of the management of the Chinese war zone also need to give them face. There is no doubt that this time, Wuzui was embarrassed, and he will have the opportunity to endorse GG in the future. Of course, this requires him to get a high ranking. Damn. Look at his smug look, buddy, you must get him a wave when the time comes, let him know how to write the word embarrassing. Tank bumped Yuchen with his arm and said angrily. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Monkey, it's your turn to play. Win the first round. Yuchen rolled his eyes at Tank, and turned to Monkey and other guys who were going to play in the first round and gave a thumbs up. Someone suddenly said awkwardly, Boss, you don't know yet, Wuzui, that showy guy, is also in the first round. The monkey also smiled bitterly. On the other side, on the ring, Wuzui held up the microphone and said with a smile, Haha, I believe many friends know that I am also a contestant in the first round. After the voice fell, Wuzui changed his clothes in seconds and changed into his original clothes. Then, the ring kept flashing white light. Wuzui stood in the center of the ring. Soon, he was surrounded by contestants on all sides. 10 o'clock. The broadcast began to count down, and the boiling audience also shouted, 3, 2, 1. As the broadcast ended, all the contestants on the ring burst into a violent battle roar. On the ring, except for himself, everyone is an enemy. Everyone is looking for people nearby and fighting each other. SBS. Attack Wuzui first. Only if Wuzui is killed first, we will have a chance to advance, otherwise forget it. Suddenly, a shout sounded on the ring, and the contestants in the fight were struck by lightning. They looked at each other and attacked Wuzui at the same time. The threshold of martial arts tournament is quite high. If you want to participate, you must kill a level 30 lord alone. So the current contestants are not too weak. In just a few seconds, nearly 20 people died. Then the remaining 80 people joined forces to attack Wuzui. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 274. Come on, brothers, kill him. Tell him to show off. For a time, the remaining 80 contestants joined forces to surround the innocent. LV. The roar of the warhorse in the center sounded. Immediately, Sinless rode the big red horse, found a position with few people, and charged forward. Guilty killed a hole, and where the warhorse passed was where his long sword slashed, and people fell down on both sides. At the same time, he was also attacked by remote professions. Two sounds of shattering mirrors were heard in the fire. He held on, but the big red horse was dying. When he rushed out on his horse was hit by the last arrow in the buttocks. He whined and fell to his knees, and then rolled to the ground innocently. But the next moment, he rolled over and stood, looking at the darkness in front of him with awe. Army. It's really a mantis trying to beat the chariot. Sinless sneered coldly, raised his sword high, and slashed out a thick flame slash. The level of guilty flame slash was quite high, exceeding level 25. Suddenly, the thick flames were like an angry dragon, opening a giant kiss to devour more than 30 players at the front. Dash. 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 White light flashed continuously, and all players hit by the flaming slash died. Isn't this the Demon Swordsman's level 15 flame slash? It only had 3 codes at first, but the innocent one actually has 15 codes. This. In the end, there were less than 40 players left. They looked at the innocents and felt cold in their hearts. A level 15 ordinary skill has been played without guilt to the point of returning to its original nature. Next, the sinless sword slashed down again, and two dragons on the left and right, a fire dragon and an ice dragon, entangled with each other and rushed out. When the smoke and dust dissipated, there were only 3 players in the entire arena, including Sin Sin himself. This scene made the audience excited. Guilty's 2 gorgeous ultimate moves knocked out most of the players, and the victory was determined. What skills are those? 2 dragons. Yes, I am also a magic swordsman. Why don't I have such skills? What's your level? What's your level of innocence? The audience had a heated discussion and finally guessed the answer, which was Double Dragon Slash, a level 40 skill of the demon swordsman. While everyone was discussing, a tiger's roar suddenly came from next to Wuxin, and then everyone saw a black-winged tiger coming out of Wuxin. Zhengzin actually got on the tiger and chased the other 2 contestants all over the field. After half a minute, the battle ended. Wuxin then changed his clothes, put on his suit again, took the microphone, and bowed to the audience to express his gratitude. The first round of knockout is over, the winner is Guilty. Guilty said loudly with the microphone, showing no limit to his swagger. God of Innocence. May I ask what level of mount your black-winged tiger is? Yes, since it has wings, why can't it fly? In the audience, countless fans of Innocence fanned the flames and pushed the popularity of Innocence to its peak. However, Sinless pretended to be mysterious and smiled without answering. Not long after, Monkey and the others teleported back, with wry smiles on their faces. In fact, they tried their best, but Guilty was too strong. Yechen's expression became solemn. In the past, the innocent damage was not very good, but now the damage has become higher. Coupled with the 9-layer mirror and the mysterious black-winged tiger, it can be said that it is not a strong enemy. If I fight Wuxin and he pulls away from me and consumes my body, one big move can kill me. Yechen pondered to himself, and the more he thought about it, the more frightened he became. Sinless possessed the 9 mirrors, which had unimaginable advantages. Yechen had to wait several times in a row before he could really hack him to death. As long as the other party found the right opportunity, he could be hacked to death with one move. No, my fire resistance is extremely high, and the blazing slash of innocence cannot kill me instantly. At present, it is the double dragon slash, but even if he kills me with the double dragon slash, I will still be resurrected. Yechen emptied his head. He could no longer hear the noise around him. He just kept simulating the battle with Guilty in his mind. After simulating more than 10 times, the situation is basically 55. In addition to the black-winged tiger, Guilty may have other trump cards. Now that the Light Camp has released 2 more sacred weapons, Guilty may have one. Yechen thought hard, and after a while, the second game started. Yechen also relaxed and watched the game. The star player of the second game was Bloodkill. Now Shwekil is also an assassin, and he can kill instantly all the way. He even surpasses Yechen in terms of operation techniques. But in terms of means, blood killing is quite different. If Bloodkill has no trump card, he is no match. Looking at the figures who were being slaughtered indiscriminately in the field, Yechen commented with a smile. In the past, Shueisha was a great god who needed to be looked up to in Yechen's eyes, but now, he doesn't seem to take it to heart. This is the change in mentality brought about by increased strength. The second round ends with eliminations. The winner will be killed in blood. After the game ended, Wuxin came to the arena, announced the results of the game, and then said, "The third round of elimination will be held next, and the contestants are invited to come on." In the first round, Guilty's 2 ultimate moves were all it took, and the fight was very fast. In the second round, the bloody battle is slower, so there is less rest time and the contestants need to hurry up. "Boss, come on. Come on." Yechen stood up with the support of all the brothers. Tank punched Yechen and said with bared teeth, "Come on, I'll be the champion." "Ha ha. Hearing this, everyone burst into laughter. Along the way, Ye Chen's strength has become stronger and stronger, and he has completely conquered them, including top players like Huo Wu. The champion is for sure. Ye Chen grinned and punched Tank. At this stage, his strength has surpassed top players such as Huo Wu and Shueisha. So apart from world-class players like King, he has almost no opponents. And in the Chinese theater, there are only a few strongest kings who can rival King. In other words, in the entire Chinese theater, he can at least rank in the top 10. If he can rank in the top 10 in the country, it would be a joke if he can't even win a championship in a small camp competition. Especially, the light camp has no strongest king. The next moment, a white light flashed, and Ye Chen came to the ring, and with his appearance, a deafening cheer rang out. In the audience, countless people opened their throats and shouted Ye Chen's ID. Ye Chen himself had not expected such a momentum. Although it was not as sensational as Wu Ziwai's appearance, it was also extremely powerful. Hey, I didn't expect that I would be so famous. The corners of Ye Chen's mouth rose unconsciously. As the broadcast countdown ended, the game officially began. Brothers. Everyone knows what level of character Ye Chen is. If we don't kill him first, we have no chance at all, someone suddenly shouted on the ring. This situation is exactly the same as when Wu Ziwai appeared before. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 275. Audience seats. Tisk, this kid is more ostentatious than me. Looking at the scene where everyone on the ring was rioting and everyone was besieging Ye Chen, Shueisha twitched his lips and snorted coldly. Ming Tian smiled and said, "Don't be jealous. Can you handle the same situation?" Shueisha was silent. If he could handle it, would he be jealous? If he was really capable, why would he care about such a small matter? Ming Tian, this hateful guy, likes to expose people's past the most. Thinking so, Shueisha said, "Hey, can you use words a little more level? What do you mean by jealous? I just feel emotional. As a senior, I feel that the younger generation is formidable." Ming Tian smiled, "You are a great god, of course I won't be jealous. Don't you always say that you are the best in the world? Now the martial arts competition has started, how about you get the world's first place to let your buddies admire you?" Shueisha. On the other side, the ring. Faced with the siege of hundreds of people, Ye Chen smiled domineeringly, feeling more refreshed than ever before. He had never thought that it would be so cool to be the center of attention. Just then, the enemy attacked, and countless long-range skills rushed over like waves. Run! Ye Chen looked around, and ran 5 yards like lightning to a mage. The next moment, the spot was smashed by various skills, and the fire curtain exploded. Some large-scale skills even injured him 5 yards away, and he lost a lot of blood. Shadow attack. Ye Chen ignored it and stabbed the mage to death with a knife. His figure was illusory, leaving a long after-image, and teleported to the periphery of the encirclement. At the same time, a blood ball hit his body, add 1560. A green recovery value flashed above Ye Chen's head, replenishing the previously consumed HP, and then rushed towards the enemy in the opposite direction. Change clothes. Swish, swish, swish. Ye Chen changed to the 1000 machine fan and fanned it frantically, and every time he fanned it, a golden dart broke through the air. Hundreds of people in front of him were like living targets. Ye Chen ran 20 yards in 5 seconds, and all 50 golden darts in the Kinji fan were fired. Suddenly, countless golden darts broke through the air, accompanied by a series of screams. With the skill of Hidden Weapon Master, the title of Hidden Weapon Master, and the hidden weapon amplification damage added by the Kinji fan, Ye Chen fired a dart, which was almost more than 2000 damage. The fragile professions that were hit were killed instantly, but the warrior profession could withstand it. Ye Chen's mind was shocked, and he found a disadvantage at this time. No, it can't be said to be a disadvantage, it should be said that there is room for improvement. Hidden weapon flow, because Xiao He can't amplify, the damage is low. However, Ye Chen's fire strength is very high now. If the hidden weapon adds fire damage, the damage will be enough. In other words, as long as Ye Chen finds a way to add fire attribute attack to the Qinji Fan, it will be perfect. Ye Chen's damage is so high, any dart can deal more than 2000 damage, I can't even reach it with one skill, how can this be over? Yeah, too strong. In the audience, countless people saw Ye Chen kill a squishy with a dart, and they exclaimed immediately. If they knew that Ye Chen was not satisfied with this damage, they would probably be scared to kneel on the ground. In 5 seconds, Ye Chen shot out the built-in golden dart of the 1000 machine fan and rushed into the crowd at the same time. Change clothes. Break the martial arts. The 1000 machine fan in Ye Chen's hand disappeared and turned into a white dagger, which broke on the spot, and Ye Chen also became a domineering body. After that, Ye Chen slaughtered crazily in the crowd. There were too many opponents and they hit him at the same time. Even if he was a domineering body, his HP would drop straight down. However, he recovered 30% of his HP every time he killed someone. For a while, Ye Chen's HP kept rising and falling, but there was no danger at all. Stab and finishing blow. Piercing the heart. Dash. 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 I saw a red laser flash out, extending more than 10 yards, shooting through more than 10 people in a straight line. The heads of those more than 10 people had huge, unimaginable damage, and they instantly turned into white light and died. The audience was boiling, and countless audiences roared excitedly. This damage was too terrible. Although it was only a straight line, it was also considered a group attack. The group attack had a damage of about 120,000. This was simply not human. Oh my god, a group attack of 120,000 damage. 2 against the sky. Single skill, our critical hit is only 5,000, and he has a random skill, a group attack of 120,000. Play a hammer, how can we continue to play? Ye Chen. An idol level figure. 6666, I have become a fan. The roar of the beast tide came from the audience, because there were too many and too mixed, it was impossible to distinguish what they were shouting. But after a moment, they suddenly unified the rhythm and gathered together to shout Ye Chen's ID. Tank and the others stood up in shock. In the arena that looked like a space monster egg, they looked around and felt that they were as small as ants. It was in such a scene that almost everyone was shouting Ye Chen's name. Yo! Shout together, Ye Chen! Ye Chen! Tank waved his hand and shouted to the rhythm. On the field, Ye Chen himself was also stunned by the deafening cheers, and then the corners of his lips rose unconsciously. 5 seconds, the dominance disappeared. But during this period, Ye Chen had killed dozens of people in a row, and with the ones killed by the darts before, there were only about 30 enemies left in the whole field. And they were standing far apart, so even though Ye Chen was not a dominant player now, he was not afraid at all. After all, 5,000 plus HP, the effect of killing and restoring blood, the special effect of the black leather coat absorbing 30% of the damage, and various high resistances, these are not for show. Ye Chen's dominant body is gone, come on, brothers, kill him in one wave. The remaining 30 people were stunned by Ye Chen's terrifying strength, trembling all over, and finally roared towards Ye Chen. Chirp! Suddenly, a loud phoenix cry sounded, and then everyone saw a fire phoenix with a flaming body appearing beside Ye Chen. With a scorching air wave, the fire phoenix collided with the 30 enemies, and after the explosion, a curtain of fire rose up in the sky burning. The fire curtain soon dissipated again, and all 30 people died. Looking at the whole audience, only Yechen and the Fire Phoenix were left. You know, the audience's field of vision is equivalent to the team's field of vision, and they can also see people in stealth. Now, except for Yechen, there was no one else in the field, which meant the game was over. Yechen! Yechen! The game was over, and the audience was excited again. This game was another quick one, even faster than the one against Wu Zy. According to the time display on the field, this game took only half a minute from start to finish. That is to say, Yechen only took half a minute to defeat 99 people. Such a record completely conquered the hearts of the audience. So, amid the deafening cheers, a white light flashed, and Wu Zy, dressed in a suit, teleported to Yechen. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 276. Wu Zy looked at Yechen with a smile on his face, but his slightly twitching nose betrayed his mood at the moment. He was the host now, and he couldn't lose his composure no matter what. So, under the enthusiasm of countless audiences, Wu Zy could only endure the frustration in his heart, staring at Yechen and forcing a smile, saying, "The third game is over, the winner is Yechen." Yo! Yeah! In the audience outside the stadium, various whistles and cheers rang out, and Wu Zy became more and more unhappy. He leaned over and took away the microphone, lowered his voice and hummed, "Boy, don't be too proud, the light camp is my territory, you can't escape from my palm after all." Yechen raised the corner of his lips and lowered his voice and said, "I'm not afraid to tell you that I got 10 steel cannons. When the martial arts competition is over, I will take the cannons and destroy your myth." "Impossible." "You scare me," Wu Zy asked with horror. "Heh, I just want to scare you." Yechen shrugged and turned into white light and left. Looking for death, Wu Zy's eyes widened and his expression became ferocious. Then he remembered that he was the host and was shocked. His expression changed instantly, revealing a smile that was uglier than crying. Audience seats. "Damn, Yechen is getting stronger and stronger," Shueisha was shocked. As a top thief, Shueisha never thought that there was anyone who could surpass him in the same profession. Mingtian is also a thief, actually a little stronger than Shueisha. If the two of them played, the situation would be 3:7. Mingtian 7, Shueisha 3, but Shueisha never admitted this. And Yechen has now shown his absolutely powerful strength. Shueisha has to admit that he has no chance of winning against Yechen. At this time, Mingtian glanced at Susha and laughed, "That's all. When you meet him, you can still beat him down. After all, you, the great god Susha, are the best in the world." You. Susha's old face turned red. Knockout round, 4th game. Tank, the opponent is the chief shield warrior of mythology, Jurjichansha, kill him. Before Tank came on the court, Yechen laughed and hammered him, and the latter smiled heartily and teleported to the battlefield. The game started soon. In this game, except for the two powerful shield warriors Tank and Jurji, there was no particularly sharp one. The game lasted until the last minute, and there were still 10 people on the ring, and each of them became nervous. If the time was up and there were more than 2 people on the ring, whoever retained the most HP percentage in the end would be the winner. "You are so stupid, there is still a thief sneaking." Countless people in the audience reminded them, but it was useless for them to remind them. Even if they could see the sneaking thief, there were no coordinates on the ring. So they knew the direction, but it was in vain if they didn't know the actual coordinates. The final outcome was also very funny. Tank and Jurji both lost, and the winner was a wretched boy who had been invisible since the beginning of the game. Until the end of the game, that guy was still full of blood. The fourth game is over, the winner is the Loki Mango. We announced the result, and the Loki Mango excitedly thanked and bowed in all directions. Hush! There was a booing outside the stadium. Damn it, I was tricked by that kid. Tank teleported back and sat down on a chair. No one sympathized with him, and they all couldn't help laughing. Tank was not angry, and smiled, forget it, a shield warrior, can't get a ranking. Yechen smiled and patted his shoulder, and said to everyone continue to watch the game, relax, I won't watch it. After speaking, Yechen left the arena, went to the auction and spent 10 gold to buy a fire attribute magic crystal, and then went to the weapons store to reforge the 1000 machine fan and threw the fire attribute magic crystal into it. Not long after, the 1000 machine fan became a weapon of fire attribute attack. After everything was done, Yechen went to the Death Forest again and found the magic tree that connected to the underground world again. System, you found the Goblin Ruins. After passing through the pipeline, Yechen came to the underground world and came to Dr. Byron's laboratory again. After Xiao Hei's theft, Yechen reaped another great harvest, 2 steel cannons, a goggles, and the rest of the things were negligible. Goblin Miracle, Detective Glasses, Fashion. Level 1. Special Effects, see through all disguises, invisible. It's actually detection glasses. Yechen was overjoyed. You know, even Hawkeye can only see through invisibility but not camouflage. In other words, detection glasses are more powerful than Hawkeye, and more importantly, they are fashion. Yechen put on the detection glasses and left, but did not return to the city, but returned to the first floor of the laboratory. In Byron, he could never steal the production drawings of ordinary bombs, so maybe other goblin doctors have them. Yechen still chose to steal. In fact, he couldn't beat Dr. Byron. He had the ability to defeat and kill these ordinary goblin doctors. But these goblin doctors, or even any goblin, are NPCs. They are all unique and will not be refreshed after death. In the previous life, a high-end player bloodbathed the Goblin Ruins. You know, in the later stages of the game, things like steel cannons can be mass-produced. Although the production drawings of ordinary bombs are rare, many players have them. Even NPC stores sell ordinary bombs. But there is no magic crystal bomb. The production drawings of magic crystal bombs are only produced by Dr. Byron in the entire Chinese war zone. Killing Byron has a great chance of exploding, but there is only one copy. Raising pigs and stealing in a cycle may produce multiple copies. At that time, the high-end player had already obtained the production drawings of magic crystal bombs. He didn't want others to get them, so he killed Dr. Byron and sent his men to wipe out the entire Goblin Ruins. That person was the Shang King, a hero-like figure. In this life, Yechen took the lead. He didn't want to follow the old path of the Shang King. If possible, he even wanted to subdue the Goblin clan. Goblins hate all non-same races. Regarding subduing them, Yechen has no good way yet, and can only go step by step. As for killing them, Yechen will never do it unless it is absolutely necessary. If they are compared to pigs, they are also sows that can produce. Killing them can only sell one-time pork. Raising them and occasionally stealing them will bring greater and more stable income. Because the thief will cause an attack judgment, although there is no damage, but it will cancel the invisibility. Therefore, Yechen can only let Xiao Hei steal. Xiao Hei has all his attributes. Under the enhancement of the title of Thief Hand, the LV-15 thief is really easy to catch, and he never fails. But these goblin doctors are not as willful as Byron. When they find that something on their body has fallen to the ground inexplicably, they will not kick it away, but bend down to pick it up. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 277. Yechen could only turn on automatic pickup and fight with them. 3 hours later, Yechen got everything he wanted. Low-level bomb production drawings. Intermediate bomb production drawings. Advanced bomb production drawings. Bullet production drawings. Low-level bombs, under the bombardment of steel cannons, group attack 5000, range 10 yards, consume 1 durability. Intermediate bombs, under the bombardment of steel cannons, group attack, range 15 yards, consume 2 durability. Advanced bombs, under the bombardment of steel cannons, group attack, range 30 yards, consume 5 durability. Magic crystal bombs, under the bombardment of steel cannons, group attack, range 60 yards, consume 10 durability. Attribute magic crystal bombs, under the bombardment of steel cannons, group attack, additional attribute special effects, range 100 yards, consume 20 durability. At this stage, steel cannons are in short supply, and durability is very important. Using low-level bombs and medium-level bombs can improve their endurance. Moreover, with a group attack of 5000, the lethality is also very huge, and most fragile professions cannot bear it. In the later stage, steel cannons can be mass-produced, and durability becomes unimportant. At that time, high-level bombs can be used. Whether it is low-level bombs, medium-level bombs, or high-level bombs, they can only be regarded as ordinary bombs, which are the mainstay. Their production materials are very cheap, nothing more than iron sheets, fuel, and animal blood. And magic crystal bombs, because they need magic crystals as materials, are powerful, but the cost is high. Even if it is a full-level magic crystal bomb production drawing, it takes about 2 gold coins, or 200 yuan, to make a magic crystal bomb. And the attribute magic crystal bomb costs more than 1000. I can't afford it. It has nothing to do with durability. It's really too expensive. It's understandable to use it at a critical moment, but it's really a waste to bomb with magic crystal bombs at any time. As for the bullet production drawings, this bullet is obviously a musket bullet. The musket is a very special weapon with no occupational restrictions. In other words, it can be equipped by all occupations. The musket is actually average in power. The best thing about it is its fast firing rate, which allows you to shoot all the bullets at once. But then it gets awkward. You need to reload the bullets after you have finished shooting them. In battle, unless your opponent is an idiot, he will not give you this opportunity. The hidden profession musketeer has 2 skills, fast reload and musket mastery. With fast reload, the musketeer can reload bullets in an instant. With musket mastery, the damage of the musketeer can be increased. In addition to these 2 core skills, the musketeer also has other output skills to further increase the output. In other words, only the musketeer profession can play with the musketeer. For other professions, the musketeer is just a toy. A round of bullets can't kill anyone, what's the use? In the later period, Dr. Byron developed the magic crystal bullet, which was the spring of the musketeer. In the previous life, the Shang King killed Dr. Byron too early. At that time, Dr. Byron had not developed the magic crystal bullet, so there was no evidence at all, would Dr. Byron develop the magic crystal bullet. First of all, it is certain that the magic crystal bullet exists, because other countries have it. But there is no such thing in the Chinese area. At the time of the outbreak of the National War, the Shang King saw the American magic crystal bullet for the first time, and he was jealous for a while. He believed that the game was relatively fair. Other countries had it, so it was impossible that China did not have it. So, he sent all the members of the Shang League to search the 3 major camps of light, darkness, and neutrality, but he still did not find the corresponding NPC. After calming down, the Shang King remembered the goblin Dr. Byron who he had killed. At that time, players had conquered various monster areas and reigned in the second half of the game. Although Dream World is still constantly developing new chapters, new content, and new areas, players have already understood the entire game world. All the information shows that goblins are highly intelligent creatures, and they have the most advanced technology in science and technology. How could the king of Shang not understand? He only cared about his own selfish desires, and finally made the players in the entire Chinese war zone lose a powerful weapon. For the real strong, the magic crystal bullet is not a big threat. Because the strong in the later period almost all have full-level fighting spirit and various means. The small magic crystal bullet is nothing at all. But the strong are always a minority, and there are more ordinary players. When the national war broke out, the magic crystal bullet of the musketeer was a considerable threat. The king of Shang himself is also a man who dares to take responsibility, and finally posted a post for in-depth review. Ye Chen was fortunate to have read that post, so he was very sure Byron is absolutely capable of making magic crystal bullets. The musketeer is a hidden profession, and I don't know the strategy for changing jobs. Ye Chen pondered to himself. Since there will be magic crystal bullets in the future, he needs to build a musketeer unit. But he didn't know the strategy, which was hummed up, so he could only passively wait for the musketeer to appear, and then recruit him with all his strength. After making up his mind, Ye Chen left the goblin ruins and entered the dark camp again to kill the enemy and gain merit. Time passed slowly, and the first round of eliminations of the martial arts tournament ended at 7:30 the next day. At 9:30 in the morning of the same day, the arena was opened again. The hosts have been changed to Xiaobo and Lisa, the famous anchors in the gaming industry, a golden pair of men and women. After all, the next promotion match will be more exciting, and with the commentary, the audience will have a better experience. The promotion match is 1:1 PK, 3 rounds, and 2 wins. The ticket price on that day was 10 silvers, and the audience seats were still full. At 9:50, Lisa invited the 128 contestants who advanced to the next round to draw lots to decide their opponents. The so-called draw is not a real draw, but a random match on the big screen to select opponents, number 1 versus number 2, number 3 versus number 4. Number 127 versus number 128. Ye Chen drew number 11, a relatively front position. He originally planned to go to the dark camp first and come back after the competition, but now there is no need, so he went back to the audience seats to wait. Everyone, when you were watching the game yesterday, did you see any players using muskets? Ye Chen took out a musket as a reference and asked Tank and other partners. However, everyone shook their heads, indicating that they did not notice. You know, what they noticed must be the qualifiers from each elimination match. If they didn't find anything among these 128 people, it means there are no musketeers among them. Ye Chen sighed slightly about this. Then he said, Sister Huo Wu, and everyone else, you can now start investigating some guilds so that we can use them as the replacement targets for our god slayers. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 278. I have already sent people to look for it. It is a LV4 guild, and the conditions are acceptable in all aspects. Tank curled his lips and said, but that guy doesn't want money, but wants to buy shares and occupy 20% of the shares. Hearing this, everyone sneered and shook their heads. The president was too open-minded. He only provided a shell and wanted 20% of the shares, impossible, not even 1% of the shares. However, unlike everyone else, Ye Chen's face darkened. Searched Can on Google. Hey, are you mistaken? Ye Chen stared at Tank and said angrily, have you ever thought that you negotiated a deal with him so obviously, but now it failed, and if he acquitted you of this news, wouldn't it be a warning? Don't worry, I sent someone over. Strange Vest Tank also knew the seriousness of the matter and hurriedly explained. Be careful anyway. Ye Chen sighed and said, take a good look first and find a guild that agrees with the request in all aspects. It is best to be a guild that is just for fun. Once you find it, attack again and try to win it in one go. Everyone nodded after hearing this. Ye Chen patted Tank on the shoulder and said calmly, "Be careful in the future. We are the ones who want to do big things." Ye Tank nodded seriously. Time passed, and soon it was Ye Chen's turn to play. His opponent was an archer, ID, nameless. As soon as Ye Chen came on stage, the mountain's roar was so loud that it almost drowned Wu Ming. Across from him, Wu Ming was sweating profusely and feeling so much pressure that he didn't even react before the countdown ended. Ye Chen walked over quickly, like an indifferent god of death, and cut Wu Ming's neck with a knife, killing him instantly. The second round started 10 seconds later. Wu Ming patted his cheek to calm down. He moved first at the beginning and drew out arrows to shoot at Ye Chen. Boo-hoo-hoo. Ye Chen moves flexibly, dodges, has the effect of the 7-piece set of Hell, fashionable lightweight running shoes, snake wings, and various movement speed bonuses, making Ye Chen's movement speed far exceed that of his opponents. In the end, Ye Chen perfectly dodged all Wu Ming's attacks, and amidst endless cheers, he cut Wu Ming's neck again, causing another instant kill. My god! Player Yagamai's attack power is really too high, Lisa said in surprise. It's so true that we don't need to explain it at all. Xiaobo is an anchor with a lewd smile. His commentary style and iconic smile are deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, and he has a considerable number of fans. At this moment, he joked again, player Yagamai is extremely powerful. He killed his opponent twice in a row. I hope you can use a few more tricks to delay the next game, lest I can't find the commentary content at all and be fired by the company. As soon as the words fell, there was a burst of laughter in the audience. Afterwards, two hosts and commentators announced Ye Chen's victory. And Ye Chen also left the stage amidst noisy screams. Ye Chen left the arena directly, preparing to enter the dark camp again, when he found a friend request from Wu Ming on the way. What should a winner say to a loser? Ye Chen looked back and rejected the invitation directly, but Wu Ming sent requests one after another. In desperation, Ye Chen added him as a friend. Sorry, Yagamai. The thing is, I have a younger brother. Some time ago, he got stuck in a special map while doing a mission and missed the registration time for the contest of martial arts. Wu Ming sent a voice message saying, so, I took his part in the competition. Unexpectedly, I met you in the second round, I lost. He was very disappointed and angry, and he desperately hopes to fight you. Then what? Ye Chen asked stiffly. He didn't want to waste his time because of such a trivial matter. I'm sorry to disturb you, but my brother is really difficult to deal with. You should just satisfy the loser's wish. Wu Ming smiled bitterly and insisted, PK venue, room number 1203, I hope you can come. After finishing speaking, the voice hangs up. Ye Chen took a quick look and found that the PK field was nearby. He sighed secretly and walked over. PK field, room 1203. When Ye Chen walked in, he found two men who looked very similar. One was silent and reserved, and this was the archer, nameless. The other one, with flying red hair, looked at Ye Chen with a bared smile as he watched Ye Chen walk in. This man has a high-profile character at first glance. He holds a gun in his hand and is actually a musketeer. It's really hard to find anything without wearing iron shoes. It takes no effort to get here. Ye Chen smiled. So you are Ye Chen. My brother lost to you. Now I want to take revenge and beat you to pieces. The musketeer's ID is Xinjiao, and his name matches his personality. He is indeed very high profile. Ye Chen didn't have the same experience as him, not to mention that this guy was a musketeer. It doesn't matter if you have a fight, but you have to get some luck, otherwise it won't be fun. Ye Chen said with a smile. Caitou, yes, how about 5 gold coins? Xinjiao smiled openly and stretched out his hand to smooth up his red hair. Ye Chen curled his lips. 5 gold coins is too little, How about 500 gold coins? Yuchin's words made Xinjiao's smile suddenly freeze. He sighed with difficulty and did not dare to speak. Liuming looked at his younger brother and sighed, and quickly smoothed things over, saying, "I'm sorry, brother Yeshen, my brother is like that, I apologize to you." After saying that, he actually bowed to Yeshen. "Hey, forget it. We cannot bet so much. But Xinjiao, if you lose, you have to work for me for a year, and sign a contract. What do you think?" Yuchen looked at the two. Hearing this, Liuming's silent face flashed a hint of surprise, but it was immediately restrained. Of course, he knew Yuchen, who was powerful and had been the president of the God Killer Alliance. If it was before, Liuming would definitely be very happy if his brother could follow him. But now the God Killer Alliance has been disbanded, and Yuchen has been targeted by Shenhua. "Okay, what if you lose?" When Xinjiao heard that he would not bet 500 gold coins, he immediately became arrogant again, and he didn't care about Liuming and agreed directly. "If I lose, I will give you 500 gold coins." Yuchen smiled. "Deal, let's start." Xinjiao was overjoyed. Liuming sighed, things have come to this point, and he can't pull it back. The match started soon, with Yechen and Xinyao standing opposite each other, 20 yards apart. Wind step. Yechen activated a buff and quickly ran towards the enemy, while Xinyao opened fire. The musket fired very quickly, but Yechen was no longer the same as before, and his movements were extremely coquettish, making it impossible for Xinyao to predict. As a result, all the bullets in a round were fired, and Xinyao hurriedly put the musket into the sleeve, used quick reload, and refilled the bullets in an instant. "Run!" When Xinyao took the musket out of the sleeve, Yechen ran and rushed to the 3 yards position. Xinyao sneered, and a flash of light flashed in his hand, and the musket instantly turned into a large caliber cannon. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 279. Heavy sniping. The light gun in Xinjiao's hand turned into a heavy artillery in an instant. A black ball of light condensed and shot out of the basketball-sized muzzle. This heavy sniper is obviously a skill of the musketeer. It is powerful and has the ability to knock back. However, Yechen also sneered. Although he didn't know the musketeer's career change strategy, he had fought against the musketeer in his previous life and was quite familiar with the professional skills. At that moment, he abruptly broke the dagger in his hand. Yes, he had been carrying a white dagger from the beginning of the battle. Crack with a sound, Yechen transformed into a domineering body, and then a black ball of light hit him and exploded. -125. When such an injury appeared, Xinjiao's eyes widened. More importantly, Yechen was not repelled. You know, Yechen is now only 3 yards away from Xinyao. In the next moment, Yechen flashes past like a black shadow and cuts Xinyao's neck with a knife, killing him instantly. Because it is a PK field, there is no penalty for death. After Xinjiao died, he resurrected on the spot, sat down on the ground, and muttered, "Isn't your damage too perverted? What's the point of killing someone with a normal attack?" "Why, you won't admit it when you lose," Yechen said with a smile. "Humph. Xinjiao, always say the truth." "I will sign the contract, but I will not obey you," Xinjiao snorted. "Haha, what do you want? It's very simple. Just change to a rubbish weapon and fight again." Xinjiao smiled and thought to himself, this guy just has a higher attack power. Now, if you change to a rubbish weapon, as long as he doesn't kill me, I'll kill him. You can kill him. Sure. Yuchen smiled, changed to a white dagger, and started PK again. Using the same routine, Ye Chen used his body to hold back the heavy sniper, and then killed him instantly with one knife. I'm stupid. What's the matter with your damage? With a white dagger, you can use normal attacks to kill me more than 4,000 times, Xinjiao was depressed. As a musketeer, he had fragile skin and thin blood. The original HP is only over 800 points, and with the LV3 stamina puzzle all over the body, it is only over 2,300 HP. On the contrary, when Ye Chen was in the dominant state, he could only do more than 100 points of damage with a heavy sniper. What the hell is this? Ye Chen smiled. His strength now exceeded 1,500, and his basic skills were far superior to ordinary people. Not to mention carrying a whiteboard dagger, even without a weapon, he could kill Xinjiao in seconds with a punch and with the help of Xiaohe. The two sides are not at the same level, in the same heaven and on the same earth. Then what should I do? How about I fight you without a weapon? Ye Chen asked. Boss, I'm convinced. Xinjiao looked bitter and almost shed tears. Next, Ye Chen asked Wu Ming and Xinjiao to fight. Because he is too strong, you can't tell their strength by fighting them, but if you let them fight, you can tell something. The final results came out, and Xinjiao barely beat Wu Ming. Wu Ming, I can see that you are stronger than Xin Yao. The reason why you were defeated was entirely due to your professional advantage. Ye Chen looked at Wu Ming and said, you two twins, brothers, should be indistinguishable from each other, right? Now that your brother has obtained the powerful profession of musketeer, have you ever thought about switching to musketeer as well? You know, there are two types of hidden professions, advanced professions and single professions. The so-called advanced profession is when a thief turns into an assassin, and the thief's skill tree is still retained. It doesn't matter when the profession is changed. However, once a single profession is successfully transferred, the skill tree of the original profession will be cleared and everything will start again. So you have to cut through the mess quickly, because the further you get to the back, the greater the losses will be. Honestly, I'm considering this issue, Wu Ming said calmly. There is no doubt that the musketeers are very strong, and my level is not high now. Changing jobs now will be painful for a while at most, as long as I can get over that hurdle. Ye Chen nodded. Yes, continue. But I'm still worried. The profession of musketeer is too special. Wu Ming frowned and said, I have seen a lot of hidden professions, such as Holy Word Mage and Necromancer. Although they are single professions, they are still mages in essence and can use magic circles. But musketeers? Oh, I understand. Are you worried about weapons? Ye Chen asked. It's just a weapon. Although there are suddenly some level 30 and level 35 purple guns on the market now, they are ridiculously expensive. The main reason is that they don't know the source, Wu Ming worried. Hearing this, Ye Chen smiled. He stole Byron and put out the muskets on the market. In fact, he sold them very cheaply, but they were sold out by those black businessmen and resold them at high prices. After all, muskets are special and can be used by not just musketeers but any profession. They are a must-have for rich people showing off their skills. There is definitely a market. Ye Chen's grasp of the market is still limited. If he had known earlier, he would have directly set a higher price. Now he is getting a discount from those unscrupulous merchants. Don't worry about weapons, Xinjiao, lend me your musket, Ye Chen said with a smile. Xinjiao was stunned, hesitated, and dropped the musket on the ground. Trading is not allowed in the PK field, but throwing items on the ground and players can pick them up freely is actually a disguised transaction. Ye Chen smiled slightly, picked up the musket, directly upgraded it with the forging technique, and then threw it on the ground. Looking at the muskets on the ground, Wu Ming and Xinjiao keenly noticed the difference. As the equipment level increased, the appearance would change. After picking it up and taking a look, Wu Ming was overjoyed and exclaimed, I have been paying attention to the market for a long time and found that low-level weapons are decreasing in large quantities every day, and then high-level weapons with the same name are produced. Therefore, I suspect that someone has the ability to upgrade equipment. I didn't expect it to be you, boss Yeshen. Compared to Wu Ming's shock and ecstasy, Xinjiao looked miserable and spread his hands and said, "Hey, boss, you helped me upgrade my equipment, I am very grateful to you. But I am now level 38, and you made my gun level 40. What do you want me to carry in the future?" Ye Chen smiled, took out a level 35 purple musket and threw it over. Xinjiao picked it up and looked at it, and immediately said ecstatically, "Boss, thank you. I will follow you from now on. You are so happy with a broken gun, don't worry, follow me in the future, you will have a good life." Yuchen laughed and shook his head, posted the kitten's ID on the public channel, and said with a smile, "This girl is the finance, you should contact her as soon as possible to sign the contract, and I will give you a gift after that." After speaking, Yuchen took out the bullet-making scroll, which made Xinjiao shout out loud. You know, his bullets were all bought from the NPC mentor, and they have no attributes. This is like the darts in the store, but Yuchen has the advanced dart-making drawings, so this bullet drawing is the same, which can make bullets with and attack power. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 280. Yes, Ye Chen did not learn the bullet production drawings, because he could not become a musketeer, so he gave the drawings to his subordinates, and there was no need for him to be a nanny. "Wu Ming, you should become a musketeer as soon as possible," Ye Chen said, and turned to look at Xinjiao. "Xinjiao, you bid to sell me the musketeer strategy, because I want to build a musketeer army." "Boss, don't say that, if you want the strategy, I will tell you directly." Xinjiao smiled. "Okay, 300,000, I will ask the finance department to transfer it to you when the time comes." Ye Chen smiled. One thing is one thing, he didn't want to take advantage of others. Then he said, "Then I will send some people over, you are responsible for meeting them and telling them the strategy." 300,000. "Thank you, boss." Xinjiao suspected that he had heard it wrong, and he smiled until Ye Chen confirmed it again. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. However, Ye Chen didn't care. Now 300,000 is just a small amount for him. What's more, it's definitely worth it to buy the Musketeer's job transfer strategy for 300,000. After dealing with the two, Ye Chen mailed the bullet blueprint to Xiaomao. When Xinjiao signed the contract, he could give it to him directly. Then, Ye Chen rushed to the Earth Dragon Palace, and after brushing 10 times in a row, he rushed to the dark camp again. Another day passed like this, and Ye Chen's merits had reached 92,000, which was very close to the Colonel's 100,000 merits. The next day, in the third round of promotion, 64 contestants came on stage to draw lots. Ye Chen looked around and saw that almost everyone in the audience was familiar, either a passerby king or the core of a large guild. After the draw results came out, Ye Chen was shocked to find that his opponent was Huo Wu, and Huo Wu was also stunned. "It's inevitable, Ye Chen, let's go all out, don't cry if you lose." Huo Wu hit Ye Chen lightly and laughed. "I'm afraid you'll cry. You're going to die." The game started soon, and half an hour later, it was Ye Chen and Huo Wu's turn to play. As soon as the two of them came on stage, the audience outside the stadium exploded. Although Huo Wu is a female player, and a rare female god, she has a considerable amount of popularity. However, Ye Chen relied on his absolute strength, plus his performance in the past 2 days, and conquered more fans, and the waves of cheers were overwhelming. 3, 2, 1. After the countdown, Ye Chen rushed up with a dagger, and Huo Wu raised her hand to shoot fireballs, which was a common attack of the flame controller, attracting screams from the audience outside the stadium. However, Ye Chen did not dodge, but went forward directly against the fireballs, and one after another, the fireballs exploded on him, -46, -49, -42. A series of tiny, insignificant damages continued to emerge from Ye Chen's head, and the audience was boiling. This Huowu is not a great god, she is just a vase, no matter how low the damage is, there must be a limit. Huowu is undoubtedly a great god, but she knows Ye Chen, and I'm afraid she is letting him go now. Bullshit, what kind of strength is Ye Chen? Who dares to let him go? There were all kinds of comments in the audience, and finally the two commentators told the truth. Everyone, look carefully at the earrings on Ye Chen's ears. I believe that powerful audiences can recognize that it is some kind of absorber. Xiaobo said, to sum up Ye Chen's attributes, he should be the preacher of a certain fire god. He has 300 plus fire strength and over 1,000 fire resistance. His high fire resistance greatly reduces the damage of fire players, Lisa said. The audience suddenly realized that it was not Huowu who was a vase, but Ye Chen who was too cool and too explosive. At this time, Ye Chen was close to Huowu, and the two were less than 5 yards apart. Sprint. Ye Chen was ready to rush over and kill her instantly, but Huowu launched a wall of fire to break his sprint. Afterwards, Huowu began to chant, and the flame manipulator increased the speed of the flame chanting, completing the flame impact in half a second. Ye Chen's feet were on fire, and the next moment a flame rushed up, but Ye Chen took the lead and prevented the flame from hitting him. At this time, Xiao He passed through the wall of fire and came behind Huowu. You know, the wall of fire has a deceleration function. If the player wants to pass through it, the speed will be greatly slowed down, but Xiao He walked on flat ground. Instant transfer. The next moment, under the shocked eyes of the audience, Ye Chen instantly came behind Huowu and killed Huowu with a light knife. It's not a shadow attack, it seems that Ye Chen has other teleportation skills, Xiaobo shouted. Looking at Ye Chen on the field, Wu Ziwai's face was gloomy, and he secretly said, not only teleportation skills, he even has shadow skills. Then the next round of competition began. Ye Chen undoubtedly won again. 2:0, winner, Ye Chen. Successfully advanced to the top 32, Lisa announced the result of the game, the whole audience was shocked, Ye Chen left the field, and the next contestant came on the field. Next, Ye Chen naturally went to brush the dungeon again, and then continued to the dark camp. Before the fourth round of promotion games began, Ye Chen reached level 39, one step away from level 40. And the merit finally broke 100,000, promoted to Major Officer, and the medal was automatically upgraded. Major Medal, Gold Quality. Level 1. Strength add 50. Stamina add 50. Intelligence add 50. Spirit add 50. Agility add 25. Special effect, 10% off in any store of the light camp. Additional skill, Dochi. Dochi, LV1 instant, the hidden power of the body bursts out of the body, forming Dochi, increasing damage by 10%. Dochi defense, 100% every second that Dochi is extended consumes 1 point of merit, CD, 1 second. Dochi is very strong, not only increasing damage, but also Dochi defense. The so-called Dochi defense is equivalent to a protective shield. If the enemy wants to hurt you, they must break the protective shield first. Ye Chen's current merit is more than 100,000 1030 points. Turning on Dochi will reduce 1 point of merit per second, so there is no problem in turning it on for 10 minutes in a row, and he will not be demoted from Major. What's more, Dochi can be turned off at any time, and the CD is only 1 second, which is quite convenient. The fourth round of promotion will be held soon, and 32 contestants are invited to play. Lisa smiled and said, I believe everyone has seen the announcement. 2 games will be held today to directly determine the top 8 places. Soon, 32 contestants took the stage. Xiaobo, and the top 8 will be born among these people. Poor Xiaobo, I was defeated by Wu Ziyi yesterday, and I can no longer show my charming skills to the audience. Haha, the audience was amused. Then the big screen turned to determine the order of the contestants and their opponents. And Yechen drew number 1, and number 2 was the mythical forbidden fruit. Yechen was stunned immediately. The forbidden fruit had strong control, but limited combat power. How did he get here? At this time, Huo Wu sent a message to solve Yechen's doubts. The forbidden fruit had a lord pet, the iron-backed rhino, and he advanced with it.